Hello and welcome to our wonderful podcast, Spirit Rebels. And this week, our episode is Happiness, Freedom and Fulfillment, Living Your Authentic Life. You are here with me, Helen, and the wonderful
Shirley. See, I'm back to
have,
singing it.
Yeah, we have to sing now. It's our thing.
It's just our thing. It's just our thing.
Yes, it's our thing. So before we get started on that lovely episode, how's things been for you this week, Shelley? What's been happening?
Well, it's that whole like Christmas pressure ramp up, isn't it? And I don't want to talk too much about Christmas because I know we're going to do a special Christmas episode that I am super looking forward to. But it's that things at school are starting to all kick off, and you've got to be here and there and everywhere. And Tabitha's on a million trips doing a million things, as she always is. And then there's the pressure of, well, you know what, like. I'm laughing because I put it all on myself. What we do this, don't we? We're like, it's only us that puts the pressure on for these sorts of things.
Absolutely.
I
Nobody
started
else
off.
cares.
No, well, I started off a couple of years ago being like, I'm not paying a fortune for an advent calendar for kids, blah, 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 blah. I'll make them advent calendars. And then every year I seem to have this need to outdo myself each and every year for the kids advent calendars. So this year they've ended up, I mean, I spend like way more than if I'd just gone and bought a fucking advent calendar to start off with.
So what do you make then? What sort of calendars do you
The
make?
big one, Tristan loves his Pokemon stuff, so he's got Pokemon cards. Now, I wasn't going to pay for a pack of Pokemon cards every time, so he loves like the artwork ones and the Japanesey ones. So I've ordered special ones. I shouldn't speak too loud because you can hear. I've ordered special ones. So he's got Japanese the Pokemon arty card things, and Tabitha loves Sanrio, which I don't know, probably Lily's a bit old, I don't know. So it's Hello Kitty, but all of Hello Kitty's friends. And
Yes, Lily's not into Hello Kitty anymore, but
no,
I've seen that.
yeah, and it's all like there's a little dog called Pom Pom Purin who is just so cute, and there's another one called Kuromi who's like a little goth girl, and there is a little cute, I don't know if it's a dog, I think it's a dog, little white dog called Cinema Roll, and they're so
Oh.
cute. And I ordered a like shit ton of stuff like stationery and hair clips and bits and bobs, so she's got like a little Sanrio calendar. But also I have a bit of a thing with them starting their day with a massive chunk of chocolate because like I'm too soft to tell them to not eat it and leave it till the night time. So I figure, well, if they get hair clips instead or a Pokemon card, then maybe this is better for them in the long run anyway. I don't know.
Oh well, I always used to like to treat myself to a like makeup calendar.
Oh yes.
It was like my adult treat to myself. However,
Yeah.
my daughter has followed in my footsteps with a love of my expensive makeup,
Yeah.
which is great for me when it's my makeup. But then I'm thinking, why did you now have this issue? You should be into the cheap makeup.
Yeah.
However, she has taken mine enough now to have a bit of a taste for nicer makeup.
Yeah.
So this year, I have bought her like an equivalent, a younger version of like a beauty calendar, which she's so we're actually recording this episode on the 1st of December, even though you won't hear it until the following week. But she's currently with her dad, so she doesn't know she's got this yet. So when she comes home later, there will be a surprise waiting for her.
Surprise. Well, we're still at the age where we've got the bloody elf going on still.
Oh, have you? Oh,
well,
God,
see, Tabby's 10. No, well, Tabby's 10, and I thought she would have grown out of this by now. And I'm sure she has, because she totally dropped herself in it last night, because I'm sick and tired of having to think of different things, and I've been through Pinterest and everything else. And it's always you just get into bed and you go, shit, the elf, no. And then we're getting back out of bed. And last night we were just absolutely knackered, and she'd had a bit of a late night because I'd stayed up watching a family movie. And then she was still awake when I went up to bed, and I'm like, oh well, I can't. Her bloody elf jingles, and I'm like, I can't do it, and we can't leave it downstairs because the dog will eat it. So it's like, oh my God. So I had to get up early and kind of do it this morning. But I went and I seen this box of elf ideas. So there's 24 little packets with little ideas for the elf in. I'm like, great, this takes all the thinking out of it. So this morning she got one with it's like a little coffee cup with a saucer and lots of like the letter T in it. And the little card says, "We've made you a cup of tea." And then it's just little lettered T's. But she
Ah,
totally dropped herself in it this morning because she goes, "Where did you get a little tiny coffee cup from? I mean, where did they get a little tiny coffee cup from?" I'm like, "You know full well, kiddo, you're just doing this because you like it. That's all it is." It's one of
oh,
these things, I think, if she tells me she doesn't believe, then she probably thinks it's all going to stop and it won't be as fun anymore.
yeah.
But it's just I was thinking last night more than ever, really, that and I think seeing Tristan the age that he is now, being 15, it's like you start to realize that they're only little for such a short time. And
Yeah.
oh God, I'm getting all emotional. And I guess as I see him getting older, I start to realize that actually the years I've got with her are so much more precious than what I was thinking. Because once they're gone, they're gone. And yeah, you can enjoy it for different reasons in different ways. But it's that little Christmas innocence and magic, and it's just,
I know. Well,
oh,
Shelley, I have to tell you, I'm 44, and this is my most magical time of the year. I love Christmas.
yay.
I embody it all. I just absolutely love this time of year, and I am like a giant kid at 44.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I've started on a nighttime watching, the cheesy Hallmark Christmas movies. Yeah, I
Yes.
love them, love them. So Paul tends to fall asleep and snooze by about 8:30. So I'm like on the sofa and I'm like, oh, what should I watch? So I've started watching like half a Christmas because we go to bed quite early, half a Christmas movie on a nighttime and finishing it off the following night. And they're yeah, just cheesy, romancy. And then I'm reading.
Oh,
I will start in December reading my Christmas books. So I went to the library the other day and got a stack of like the usual big city marketing girl moves to rescue a small town Christmas village or something or other. So I'm nearly finished the first one just off today. I've had a total nothing day today. It's been wonderful, apart from taking
oh,
Tabby for a trip. So I've been on the sofa with the dog, snuggled in with my book, and I'm nearly finished this one. They're so easy to read. You just kind of fly through them. Just love them,
oh,
love them, love
that's
them.
nice.
So it's all Christmas a go-go in our house. Christmas tree went up yesterday as well. And then we said we were going to sit and watch a Christmas family movie last night, but then we couldn't agree on one. So we watched The Secrets of Dumbledore instead, which is fair
Oh, well,
enough.
you all like that, so
Yeah,
that's fine.
exactly, exactly. What have you been up to this week, my love?
So well, this week, just normal week at work and all that jazz. But this weekend, I've literally, listeners, walked in the door. My bags are still on the floor by the door. That is how committed to this podcast I am. I've just come back from Cardiff. I went out with my dear friend Joe, and we went up to do a bit of Christmas shopping, see the markets, and my brother and his partner Greg live up there, so it was great. We went to go and see them and had a really lovely bit of family time. And I have to say, I completed my Christmas shopping
Oh
yesterday.
my goodness.
Everything's done.
Oh,
I've just got to
wow.
wrap it now.
Oh my goodness. That is wow. That is really, really wow.
I
Really,
wanted to be
really,
organised this year because I
yeah.
always leave it to the last minute. And financially, I wanted to have just got everything done by December. So, yeah,
Yes.
I technically finished yesterday, which was the 30th, was it not yesterday? 30th of
Uh,
November?
31st,
Oh,
30 days of
31st.
September.
Yeah,
No,
whatever it
30th,
was.
but the last day
30th
of
of
November.
November.
Well, I
Yeah.
can't even remember how many
Oh my
30
God, we're
days
going
as
mad.
November, April,
Yes.
September, April, June, and November. Yeah,
Yeah.
30th yesterday. Yeah, I'm
So
going
yeah, so
slightly
basically
mad.
I stuck to plan and I completed
Yes.
by the 1st of December.
Oh, you need that's me clapping. I don't know if anyone can hear that, but that is that is amazing. I'm nowhere
I know.
near done. Nowhere near done. Everything's late this year. Like I just haven't managed to get around to doing much this year. Everything seems to be quite late. Helen, my love, this and I'm totally dropping this on you as well. I'm just literally trying to find it as we speak. But just as we start, I would like to share a little email that we've had from one of our lovely listeners. Would you like to
Oh,
hear it?
I don't know about this email. So yes, I
Don't.
do.
It literally came in, I think it was yes, it was yesterday. Yes, it came in yesterday, off the back of one of my newsletters. And it's from a lovely lady called Julie. And I'm not going to go into the details because she's given us like a lot of detail in an email. Don't want to go into it too much. But she has made a very, very big change with her work. She has all of a sudden come to the realization that she wasn't happy. She's taken a huge leap of faith, leaving a job that with no other job to walk into. And then the universe has just provided her with the perfect solution. So great big. She's left a job after 23 years of being in that position.
Wow.
And she feels very at peace with it. And then it was Friday, a perfect job just appeared in front of her, and she's gone for it, and she's been offered it, and it's
Wow.
absolutely perfect. And she says, I just wanted you to know that if I hadn't come across your Facebook group via a friend, and I hadn't been taking any notice of the guidance on a Thursday, that's my cards, and if I hadn't been listening to the podcast with you and Helen to truly understand things that have happened to me in the past are happening now, I wouldn't have taken that leap of faith. So thank you, from Julie.
Oh, wow. Oh,
So
Julie, that's lush. And well done, you. What
yeah,
a brave woman. And
yes.
well, we just wish you the best success. And that is phenomenal. That's made my day.
Isn't it lush? Isn't it? I'm so excited. I was like, oh my
Oh,
goodness. And the fact that I haven't even replied to her yet. So I hope it's okay with mentioned it.
well, you're getting a live reply, Julie. Is that not the best?
But just, you know what? And I think for me, this is why I do what I do. The fact that, and I feel sometimes like I am just giving out my same messages over, trust in the universe, ask for guidance, follow your heart, live authentically. And I guess this email is a really good start to this episode, links in
Absolutely.
perfectly. And I feel like I'm constantly bombarding people with the same messages. I'm like a bit of a broken record sometimes. And I often think, falling on deaf ears. Does anyone listen? And then to get a message like that, just to know that someone's been listening to us and has taken on board what we've been talking about and actually used it to shape their life and create happiness and fulfillment for themselves to live more authentically. That's like, I don't know. I just feel like the universe has just come and patted me on the head and went, "Good girl, good
Oh,
girl." So
yeah.
I'm super proud of Julie, and I'm super proud of us, because in doing this podcast, it is us finding fulfillment and happiness and living authentically. And yeah, just a big old nice fuzzy warm feelings on the inside.
Oh, that is amazing. And I echo that completely. It's just because this was just a dream for us
Yeah,
both, wasn't it? And I know you've done a podcast before, but I've always been that person like you that's like, if you can just help one person, doesn't that
yeah,
make life better? And if people are enjoying listening to us rabbit on and share our wisdom, then happy days, because that's a minute. But
yeah.
Julie, hats off to you. You've done that. You've taken that gigantic leap of faith. You've listened to your true self. You've really worked out what's going to make you happy and you've gone with it. And so I just think that is phenomenal. And although I don't know you, Julie, in person, I think that is amazing and well done. You keep us updated on your progress. Let us know how the job goes and stuff like that.
Yes, definitely, definitely. We love to hear. So nicely, just seamlessly leading on from that, this episode is all about, now if we would entitled it Happiness, Freedom and Fulfillment, and then we've kind of umbrellaed it as living authentically, because if we are happy, if we do have a sense of freedom and we are getting fulfillment from our lives, I guess we are living authentically, because I don't think you can feel those things, happiness and freedom and fulfillment, if you aren't at least, attuned to your authentic self, who you really, really are. And sometimes I think, and I've worked with quite a lot of people like this, we get into an habitual life, I should say, where an habitual life, is it an with an A, an with an H? I don't know, grammar.
Yeah,
Yeah, an
Anne,
habitual
an
life.
habitual life. Yeah,
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
habitual life. Yeah,
No,
it's Anne.
and yeah. God. I need like a verbal editor sometimes. I really need just make it up as I go along. Um, and yeah, we get into this habit, and a way of living becomes so habitual that we don't stop to ask ourselves if actually how we are spending these days are actually making us happy. There's a
Hmm.
lot of people out there in jobs that either, well, sometimes there's a lot of people in jobs that they really hate, that they really despise, and they dread going to work. But then there's a lot of people in jobs that, well, they kind of think it's okay because they don't hate it. but they don't love it, and it isn't bringing them a sense of fulfillment. And there's people in relationships that do the same. There's people living in places that do the same, spending their time in ways that aren't leaving them feeling fulfilled, and they just feel a bit like, well, mediocre. Well, I'm not super, super sad, but I'm not super, super happy at the same time. And I believe, as you well know, that we should all be aiming for this super, super happy. I mean, maybe it's not 100% of the time, there's a lot to be said for being content and satisfied. But I think a lot of people are living below the content and satisfied line. But because we've done it for such a long time, we just kind of think, oh, well, this is the hand I've been dealt. This is where I'm at for now. So I should just put up and shut up and get on with it. When really, what I believe, and I think you're the same with as in terms of belief with this, is that we should be looking at our lives, each day is a gift. And I know I sound cheesy and a bit wanky when I say it, but each day is a gift. It's an absolute blessing. And we have a limited number of those on this
Yeah.
planet. And, if we spend, I mean, how many hours do we spend in work? How many hours do we spend, out of work in our relationships, in our home environment, home lives? How all that time where, I guess what I'm trying to say is that at the end of my life, I'd like to get to the end and go, yep, I did it. And smile and know that the hours that I spent doing or being made me happy. And I was actually me. And that's the other point that I kind of want to bring up, just to kind of kick off the whole discussion idea, is the fact that, you know, a lot of us can lose our understanding of who we are. We might have squished ourselves into a certain role as a mom or a wife or somebody at work or a daughter or son or husband or, whatever. And then we've merged with that role to the point where we've actually lost an understanding about who we are, and we've just become that person. And I know I've worked with a lot of ladies like this, and then once like their kids leave home or whatever, they kind of go, oh crap, who am I?
Who
What
am I?
what do I
Yeah.
even like? I don't even know, and I'll say, oh, well, what do you like to do for you? Well, I don't even know. I don't know what makes me happy. So I suppose my first kind of question, my first thing for you, Helen, to think about, and for me and all our lovely, lovely listeners, is what actually is happiness? What does happiness look like? What does it feel like? Because it's different for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah. That
What
is actually a
is
bloody hard question,
happiness?
actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I'm very lucky because I'm a very, on the whole, positive person. So, like I said in previous episodes, every day I wake up alive. I'm grateful. I'm happy. I'm like, hallelujah, I'm here for another day. And,
There's that hallelujah again. We love it.
love it.
Hallelujah.
And just for me, so, obviously at the moment, I'm a full-time worker and mum. They're the two biggest bits of my life, and I'm going to be working, and pension age keeps going up, so realistically I'm going to be working for at least another 20 years, I'd say, or just under 20 years, whatever that looks like. But that's a long time, isn't it? So I am in that mindset of, well, I need to be doing something I enjoy and be happy. That's not to say that every day when you go to work you're 100% happy. Come on, this is life. It's fine to have down days. But on the whole, I will go in and make the best of it and be happy. And I have, if I have got unhappy, I've always made the decision to stop moaning about it and do something about it. I mean, all these people that just moan and moan and moan and don't do anything about it. I'm like, well, why not? If it's making you unhappy, do something. So I'm in a job I love. I love my job. I'm really happy. I have very stressful days. I'm not saying that, but I really enjoy my job. So that for me is great. If that were to ever change, and I hope it doesn't, well, I would just take the leap then to look for something else that's going to give me the same sort of happiness, because I'm like you, Shelley, life is too short and I don't want to be miserable when I've got this precious time on this earth. So I always have that thing, and you've mentioned it on lots and lots of episodes. It comes down to choice, doesn't it? And for me, I choose happiness. I not saying that every day is a happy day. As you know from previous episodes, I have anxiety, OCD. I've been in a domestic violence relationship before. I have had difficult and hard times. However, I don't want to wallow in that. No. I want to find something good in each day. So that's where I try and change my outlook, as it were. And the same with motherhood, you know, as you've heard me witter on all these episodes, sometimes it can be very challenging. But the joy and what she brings into my life far outweighs these, you know, the difficult phases you go through in any parenthood. And like back to the love thing. Yes, I haven't got love right now, but I know I want it. So I'm open to it. I will keep looking and keep searching. But in the meantime, I'm not going to stop my life and go and sit and wallow that I haven't got a partner. I'm going to get on and live my life. So I suppose for me, it's a mindset thing and a choice. And I choose right now to be happy. Does that kind of answer the question, or have I gone off on a tangent?
No, I love that. But what I'm going to say is, I think you and I are, well, I think we're very lucky, and I think we are in a bit of a position of advantage because we do have that sort of mindset. And whether that's been because of our upbringing, whether it's because of the work that we've done for ourselves and the, you know, the less positive experiences that we have overcome in our lives, and we've reached a point where we can actually, I guess we've got that courage to be able to do that. But I know that there is a lot of people out there, and some of which may be listening to us, that don't necessarily think it's just as easy as deciding.
I
And
get that.
and I am wondering, you know, because, and I one of the traps I fall into in my job is that I can become a little bit complacent over my, I don't want to use the word courage, my drive for life. I don't know what the right words are, because a lot of people are actually, you know, they have not had the opportunity to take the time to learn about themselves, what they want. They've also maybe been, you know, carrying a lot of old conditioning and old programming to tell them that they don't deserve any better, or that happiness is something that other people have, or that I'm doing a lot of yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is that maybe I think we're quite lucky because we find, and I don't want to say it's easy because it's not. You know, when I left my secure, you know, air quotes, proper job to take off and be self-employed and everything, I mean, I did it, but it was a massive leap of faith. It was terrifying. But I'm the kind of person that can look at terrifying and go, come on, you know, I'm going to do it anyway. And I've taken a long time to get to a point where I can look at a scary situation and go, it is scary, but I'm not going to let that fear hold me back. I'm going to, you know, I'm going to believe that actually there's positive and good waiting on the other side for me. Whereas I think a lot of people have been, well, they've been brought up to believe, or conditioned, or carry those beliefs, or, you know, society in general kind of tells us that, you know, ooh, play it safe, don't take those risks, it's not worth it, you know, what if it doesn't work out? And, you know, especially like in social situations and things, I think it's hard sometimes to be the black sheep and do the thing everyone's looking at you going, just do the sensible thing, but your heart's inside going, oh, but I could try this, I could do something new and different and exciting. But you know, if you don't necessarily have that support or the experience of diving in with both feet, if you're not a dive in with 2 feet kind of a person, it's not always as easy to choose or to flip that mindset.
I do hear that, because if suddenly you were to say to me, like, obviously things like this I'm very passionate about. I love seeing people develop and training and things like that. But would I leave the safety of my job now that I really enjoy to step into another realm again of something completely new, which I am exceptionally passionate about? No, I wouldn't. And part of that is because I'm a single mum. I need to know that I've got security, and also I like routine and structure. That, I think that's the OCD side of me that helps me function well. So I like to know I get up and I do this and I do that and I do that. That's good for me. So I can see the opposite of that is, I suppose I've said, yeah, I'm living what I would say right now is my authentic life and I'm happy, but am I brave? Probably not. Is there other things I would love more than my current job? Well, I think if we're all honest, there's probably something we'd all love to do more of. Am I brave enough to? Absolutely not right now. So I suppose there is that other flip, isn't it? And then like what you were saying about the poor people in the world, where they are just constantly dealt a hard hand, and there are those people, and you are right, we are lucky, but we're lucky, I think, a lot of it through, like when I was working full time in jobs I haven't enjoyed, I was doing my Reiki and things on the outside, and I was doing other things that I knew did give me fulfillment, to bring that into my life. So I suppose it did come back to, I knew that was going to make me happy, so I need to do something about it. But the job at the time I didn't particularly enjoy. I just had to get on with it, you know. So I can see it from all sides. So maybe I was a bit nice and simplistic in my happiness
but
answer.
No, because I think in your answer, I mean, your answer is exactly what my answer would be. Well, make the choice, choose happiness. If something's not making you happy, then make the change. And I'm absolutely with you on that. I'm just thinking about the people who like kind of look at us and go, oh, well, it's all right for you, isn't it, to be able to make those sorts of decisions? Because there's two things you said in there that I'm going to jump on that I absolutely agree with. But, you know, the work that we've done, because we've both lived through times, whether it's relationships we've not been happy in, whether it's a financial
We've
situation.
both been divorced, haven't we? So
Both been
our
divorced.
marriages have failed.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't see it as failure. I don't see it as failure. But I think, you know, but as long as I've known you and for as long as you've known me, we have worked on ourselves. We have chosen to go, not so keen on that about my life. Right, what can I do differently? So I think, you know, one of the reasons why good stuff comes to us is because we carry a naturally high vibration anyway. And I know I sound a little bit like, oh, look at me, I'm really high vibration. But your vibration only gets higher if you choose to allow it to get higher. You know,
and you've committed to it. You know,
I
you've
think we both
committed
have.
to, well, yeah, we have, but
Yeah.
we've committed, haven't we, to, we're going to put that time in, or we're going to,
Yeah.
like, investing in all our training.
Yeah.
That's been expensive. That's
Yeah.
been a financial
God, yeah.
commitment to get to our
Absolutely.
levels. And for you, particularly with all the extra stuff you've gone on and done, that is a huge financial investment before you even begin with everything else.
With time and everything else.
But
Yeah.
that was what was right and what
Yeah.
you want to do. And the same for me.
Yeah. And it's that daily thing, you know, we talked about it like back in the first episode of chapter 2, that daily commitment to plug into the universe, to talk to the angels, to do your meditation or your Reiki self-healing or write affirmations, to set goals if you want to be more practical, to put Reiki symbols on things, you know, to do whatever it is that we do on a daily basis. That it's these things that help us open up to the higher vibrations, which I believe, working with law of attraction, will bring happiness in the long run anyway. But what I also heard from you there, you know, you were talking about the times you've worked in a job that wasn't bringing you the happiness and fulfillment that you wanted, but you did other stuff on the outside. So I think maybe for someone who is maybe not feeling brave enough, and I'm not encouraging anyone just to walk into work tomorrow and go, I quit, fuck the lot of years.
Yeah,
Storm
don't do
out.
that.
Or, you know, leave your family, steal a gypsy caravan and go and like hide in the Outer Hebrides. So I'm not suggesting anyone
No.
does that. But I think for me, it's about looking and going, right, I need to be honest with myself. This, and this isn't making me happy. I don't necessarily know what would make me happy right now, but I need to be honest and say my job doesn't make me happy, or my relationship doesn't make me happy, or my house, or my body, or my health, or you know, my finances, or whatever it is, to be able to look at it and go, right, first step. Well, the first step of the manifestation cycle is to see the contrast, is to go, I don't like this. And from a place of I don't like this, we get to go, right, what's the opposite then? And when you identify the opposite, you go, that's what I want. Therefore, I am aiming for that. But a lot of people just look at the contrast, this shitty situation, and go, I don't like it. And then they don't take it any further. But there's no point in noticing it if you don't do something about it.
I have to confess though, Shells, I'm a bit like that with weight.
Mm.
So obviously when I went through my Slimming World journey, which would have been about 5 years ago now, I got to the point where I wasn't happy with myself. So I decided to join Slimming World and I committed to it.
Yeah.
And then I lost loads of weight. And then, like everything, life changes, moves on. And then I put on all that weight back on and probably then some. And I'll look in the mirror now and go, I'm not happy about that. Oh, I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy about that. But right now, am I doing anything about it? No, I'm a lazy ass bitch. But right now, I want to be that.
I'm trying to strangle you through the screen. We don't talk about ourselves like that, Helen. My gods. Okay, so instantly I'm going to come back with the challenge. Is it the fact you're a lazy ass bitch, or is it the fact that there's some programming and limiting hidden beliefs going on, some behavioral patterning, some self-sabotaging stuff, loads of self-worth issues all tangled up in there that is actually stopping you from moving forward with a weight loss journey? I don't think it's about being a lazy ass bitch, because everything I know about you tell you don't sit still for 2 minutes. You're constantly on the go. You're working super hard. You are out visiting people. You're doing things for your family, for your daughter. You're out with friends. You're doing extra work with your speaking gigs and things like that. There is nothing lazy about you in the slightest. So is it about being lazy, Helen, or is it the fact that actually some healing needs to take place? And again, the need to heal has nothing to do with laziness in the slightest.
Which
So
goes back to your original point of when you are looking to maybe try and improve something in your life. Sometimes it could be we've got to just take a small step or choose something in that direction. Yeah, okay. All right, I'll take back that I'm a lazy ass bitch.
good.
I'll take
Thank you
that
very
back.
much. Yeah.
But that is an area of my life which I would say, if you said, are you happy in that area? Actually, no.
Yeah.
Am I ready to go on to join Slimming World again or do something like that? No. But I think, yes, actually, there are hidden beliefs and some work and things to do there. So I need to choose to maybe look into that, do some journaling, work out what is causing that sort of bit of a block.
Yeah.
But that will be something that other people listening to this will resonate with, because we all go through issues, don't
Absolutely.
we, of looking at ourselves in the mirror. We've talked about it many a times on this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, don't self-sabotage, listeners, like I've just done.
Well,
Shelley,
you know what is Shelley will, but everyone does it. And I mean, you know what? We've all been in relationships where we've said to ourselves secretly in our little quiet, whispery bit of brain and gone, I'm not happy. I'm not happy here. I need to change this. But then you go, I can't. I'll not find anyone else. I don't want to hurt anyone. Oh, that I can't afford it. Life's too scary. Practically, how's it going to work? You talk yourself out of things. Whether you want to leave a job to start a business or apply for a different job or move house, but you don't want to because it'll upset such and such, and that the kids are settled and this and that. There's a million different things in our lives that over time we kind of secretly admit to ourselves don't make us happy, but we're just maybe not ready to do anything about. And it's okay, because it doesn't all have to be done by tomorrow tea time. This life is the journey, and it is about that journey. So it's okay to be, succeeding at one thing and then working on another. And then over time, something will kind of unfurl and you go, oh, there's that. Okay, it's time to look at that now. Now we deal with that. But I think we all carry these hidden, and it comes back to those damn pesky hidden beliefs again, that we all carry these hidden beliefs, and because no matter how much you work on yourself, the majority of people will still carry a belief that limits their ability to manifest or to whether you want to look at it from a manifestation law of attraction point of view or whether you want to look at it from a practical point of view. We all carry beliefs to some degree that limit how much happiness we allow into our lives, how much fulfillment we allow into our lives, how much belief in the fact miracles can happen that can change all the there's the stuff that we're stuck in. So when we look at happiness and when we look at this idea of living a perfectly happy and fulfilled life, I think we cap it, don't we? And then this is to me, this is what a healing journey is about. It's about reaching that next level and going, okay, right, well, where's next? And then doing the work, doing the self-reflection stuff, doing the healing stuff, reprogramming those beliefs, getting rid of the harmful beliefs that we carry so that we reach the next level. And then there's another level to go to. It's like a continuous staircase of life evolution, I suppose, is the best way I would put it. So there's always, the next step to go for. But then you can come back to, and I think it was Natasha was asking about this, manifesting stuff and not feeling guilty for it. There's people out there who are afraid to reach for happiness because not only do they feel they don't deserve it, but they end up feeling guilty for being selfish, air quotes again. I can't think about me. Well, actually, I would love to join an art class and really take up doing some art outside of my full-time job, but I don't want to do that because then I'd have to ask such and such to have the kids one night a week, or I'd have to, spend money on supplies that really I shouldn't be spending on myself, and all that sort of stuff. So it's really, I think it's about finding a balance, and I think it's really hard. But my advice is to carve out 15 minutes of your day. Now, I know I've already encouraged you to carve out 15 minutes for meditation, but hey, half an hour of 24 hours, come on. You've still got 23 and a half hours to do whatever it is you want to do. But if you can give yourself 15 minutes a day to do something that makes you genuinely, authentically happy. Now, that might be sitting with your kids watching The Secrets of Dumbledore, or it might be just taking yourself off for a bath, or it could be sitting with a colouring book, or it could be, these crazy people who like to go for a run.
Yeah, crazy.
Crazy people. No, giant respect to these people who have enough motivation to do that kind of thing. It could be painting your toenails. It could be just taking time to do your makeup nice and telling yourself you look nice. It could be anything, reading a book, whatever. But if you can take 15 minutes for happiness time, and actually not just going, oh, well, I enjoy doing my makeup, so this is my 15 minutes a day. Well, no, because you do that every damn day. And actually, do you sit and actually be in that time, or are you constantly clock watching, thinking what time you got to be out the door, and you haven't got her breakfast sorted out yet, and you haven't done this and you haven't done that, and oh my God, I've still got to iron my trousers, blah, 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 blah. That 15 minutes has to be lived, I guess, mindfully is the word, like being in the moment and actually taking the time to enjoy the process of what it is you're doing. It could be just sitting down with a cuppa and 2 slices of toast, but early on a morning in the quiet and just sitting in the peace and just enjoying your cuppa and your toast without the distractions of scrolling TikTok or whatever, without having to go, fold the toast over into like 4 quarters and then shove it all in your mouth at once because you're running late, or be drinking it in the car on the way to work, but just to sit in that moment. So your challenge, listeners and Helen, is to give yourself 15 minutes where nothing else in the world matters apart from that one thing you are doing to make yourself happy. Music's a really good thing for this. You could pick like how many songs is 15 minutes?
4, something like that.
4,
3,
5, something
6,
like that.
9, 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 5 actually. They're around
Yeah.
roughly 3 minutes each, aren't they? Something like that.
Pick yourself 5 of your favorite songs, put them on a mini playlist, or make a big playlist and just play 5, on a random shuffle, and just sit and sing along to those songs, or dance in the kitchen to those songs, or whatever. Not while you're doing anything else, but just in that time, just listen to those songs. And our vibrations are meant to be really high all the time. Well, I say all the time, not all the time, because when our vibes drop, when we experience sad things or upsetting things or whatever, that's all just important. You guys know I do not believe in negative emotions, because the emotions we get that don't feel good are there to guide us to what is going to feel good, or it's here for our growth or our development, or on a soul level, or whatever. But we're meant to have high vibrations the majority of the time. And Abraham Hicks does a thing where I've got a funny story to tell you as well. Excuse me, got a frog in my throat. Abraham Hicks does a lovely thing where they talk about the fact that, if you can imagine a big glass tank and you have a cork out of a champagne bottle, and if you just leave it alone, that cork will just float on the top. And that's what we're meant to be like. But if you get your fingers and you push that cork down to the bottom of the tank of water, the cork will stay at the bottom if you hold it down. But the minute you take your fingers off, the cork will bob back up to the top. Now, we are the cork in that situation. If we're just left alone, we will just bob along the top, lovely high vibrations. But our fingers that push that cork down represent our worry, our lack of trust, our impatience. It's all the resistance. It's our lack of self-worth. It's our fear, all that sort of stuff. That's what holds our cork down at the bottom of the tank. So if we could just magically eliminate all fear, all resistance, all impatience, all lack of trust, lack mentality, if we could just get rid of all of that from our lives, just magically, just like that, we would just bob up to the top. So By doing 15 minutes of happiness, what we're doing in that 15 minutes where nothing else in the world matters is we're taking our fingers off the cork. We're letting that cork just bob up to the top. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, and I love it. And actually, when we talk about 15 minutes a day, it really is a small amount of time. I would like to think most people are striving for much longer than that of making themselves happy, but do appreciate that busy lives and all that jazz. But yeah, I think that's great. And we just have to make that time.
Yeah. Yeah. I started doing this. So I was at the time a single mom. I had my 2 babies. So Tabby would be, me and Dave split 2.5. She just somewhere between 2 and 2.5. Tristan's 5 years on that, so that'd be 7.5. So not grown up by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
Single mom. And I used to find I would work through the day, like kids to school. But when Tabby was 2, she was in preschool. She got 3 hours in nursery, so she'd be off. And I think she would just do like mornings or something. I can't remember. But the hardest time of my day would be after school pickup. And it was the time between getting home and then you had to get the tea out and then it was bath time and bedtime and stories and homework and all that other sort of
Making packed
stuff.
lunches for the
Yeah,
next day.
and I found that bit hard. That's where
Mm.
my emotions would spike. That's where my anxiety would spike. That's where my energy levels would plummet. I would find that bit really, really difficult. And also at that point in the day, especially for a 2.5-year-old, you want them to sleep through the night. So you're starting to cut back on their naps and everything through the day. I mean, Tabby was falling asleep. The amount of pictures I've got of Tabitha with her face in a plate of spaghetti bolognese is unbelievable. You just fall asleep in it. But I used to come in and I for a long time I went on feeling like this and I was exhausted, and it wasn't just physical exhaustion, it was the emotional side. It was everything was just the world felt too much. And I got to a point and I was like, no, I need to give myself some time out here. And I was doing my Reiki on a morning and at night time, but I was always too busy dealing with the kids. But one day I made a decision. I thought, you know what, for 15 minutes neither of you is going to die. Neither of you is going to explode. So I would put them in the living room I wouldn't even give them any snacks because my catastrophizing brain would tell me they would choke on them while I wasn't paying any attention. So I would put a program on, they'd get devices, whatever, and I'd say, Mum's having mum time. I need my peace time. I have 15 minutes. You can look at the clock, you can see what's what, and I would take myself off to the bedroom. And you know what? We were in a bungalow, so I wasn't even upstairs. The door would be open. We literally there'd be a room along the corridor, so no one get cross at me for abandoning a 2.5-year-old because I didn't. Um, and I would take myself and I'd lie in my bed, and I would do 15 minutes of Reiki, and that would be my forget the world exists kind of thing. I mean, I could hear them, if anything was happening. I'm probably subliminally programmed to, well, for Tabby, it was Sophia the First at the time. It was just the song music playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would take myself off and I would do that 15 minutes then. And it was that was a massive shift for me. And I was like, you know what? If I get 15 minutes of just time for me without having to sort this or do that or manage that one's meltdown or anything else, that means I can cope for the rest of the night, and I can do it, and I can not just cope for the rest of the night, but I can do it well. I can read to my kids and enjoy it. I can pack lunches out and actually think, what do I need to put in the sandwich here? Or, sort uniforms out. Or, well, a lot of the time when I had the kids, I was writing on a night time as well, whether it was workshops or whatever else. And I could come back and I could do that and I could enjoy it. But without that 15 minutes, my brain was mashed potato. I was just mush. And because I just couldn't, with the anxiety chemicals and stuff going off, I just couldn't cope. But that 15 minutes, and for me, it was Reiki, but it doesn't have to be. It could be reading a book. It could be coloring in. It could be going out in the garden and just breathing and looking at, what's going on out there. And that was a massive turning point for me. And I would encourage anyone, whether you need the 15 minutes or you do not need the 15 minutes. And even now, I can say to my kids, even though they're older, I can say, I need peace time. And they'll both they'll just know. And they'll know that I'm not ignoring them. I'm not like, it's not that I don't care. I need that peace time. And I'm hoping that I'm teaching them that it's okay for them to tell the world whoa, I just need
Well,
15 minutes.
Lily said that to me the other day. I asked her to, I don't know, play a game or something. He said, play a game. And she was like, no, no, no. And then I said, well, let's watch something you want to watch then. I just wanted a bit of time with her. And she just went, Mum, she said, I'm not being rude, but I just want a bit of time on my own. I just want to do whatever it was she was doing. I think she was making dance TikTok videos in a room, not to share, just for herself.
Just for
she likes to record them and then they never go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I thought, I did chuckle to myself afterwards. I thought, oh my God, it's like me talking when it's my little one. And yeah, it's that self-awareness, isn't it? It's understanding your needs as well. And it's okay. And the flip of that, as adults particularly, maybe your 15 minutes isn't done in a different way slightly. Just thinking slightly differently is it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
You know how as particularly as we get older, we take on so much more, like we'll take on extra things at work, or we'll go and see the family member because we feel like we have to do that, but maybe we don't really need to, or our friends have invited us out, but as it gets closer, you're just like, oh, I really just need tonight. It is okay to say no, because the people that truly love you and care are going to understand, and they're going to be fine with it. I hope you don't mind me saying this, Shelley, but like we were going to record, weren't we, on Friday night?
Yeah.
And Shelley messaged and just said, you know what, do you mind if we kind of don't? I'm just not feeling in the best place to do it on Friday night. I'm just not quite there. I was like, yeah, it's fine. No problem at all. We've rescheduled to today. It's worked out perfectly. And that's the right thing to do, because you've got to be wanting to do it. You've got to be feeling in it. And so it's okay to say no. I suppose that's what I'm trying to say. It's all right to that be what you listen to. You sit for 15 minutes, work out what it is you need, and your need might be, I need to cancel that party next week. I'm just not feeling it. That's fine. You do that.
And I guess that idea of living obligatory, if you know what I mean, that is the opposite of living authentically, isn't it? Because we find one of the things, and I say it all the time to clients, I say it in groups, I say it in Witch School, I say it in my card Thursdays, like I say this all the time. We came here to live our lives, but how many times do you find yourself living for other people, to make other people happy, and not necessarily just to make other people happy, but to keep the peace, or to, just for an easy life. Oh, I'll just admit it's easier just for me to get on and do it rather than say no or argue or whatever else. And we end up living for other people. We end up, I guess, looking back through life, as particularly teenage years, you dress to fit in. So you're not dressing in what you want to dress in. You dress in what's acceptable. You dress to make other people want you or like you or accept you. I'm hoping that we are bringing up our kids to know that they can dress and be, whoever they are. But oh gosh, I guess the 80s and 90s were quite a time for that, wasn't it? I mean, you was, if you turned up wearing something that wasn't classed as in, you were shunned. You were I don't know about your school, but we would be like, oh,
it was
God.
the same, but I kind of ignored it because I've
Good
always
for
been
you.
a bit, and I wore like hippie dungarees, dangly earrings, hippie hats. Didn't give a shit. That was not what people were wearing back then. But I was always one of the few people which, on the whole, if I quite like something else, would be confident enough to do it. But Lily's not that. Lily conforms exactly to what the teenagers are wearing, because that's what she's in. But the point you're making as well is about this time of year, particularly, just going back to the December Christmas thing. And I know we're not touching too much on Christmas. However, this is a particularly difficult time of year for a lot of people for that, I can't say the word. What did you say? Obligatory. Couldn't get it out. I could see it written in my mind. But I couldn't say the word. And then this is the time when that's very prominent, isn't it? Around Christmas, you have to go and visit that person. You have to do that. And
getting gifts for people, spending money, and all that sort of stuff. It becomes well, this is just what you do. And to be able to turn around, I mean, I'm quite lucky because well, as you know, I've got to a point in my life where I'll do what I want to do anyway, because that's just who I am. But I'm quite lucky in the fact that both Paul and my family are very open to just letting us, as long as we're happy, we've got no one to guilt trip us. But I'm very aware of the fact it's not always been like that, because my ex's family were a bit like that. But how many, so my kids, I have my kids Christmas Eve this year, then they go off to their dad's mid-morning Christmas Day. I hate this turn. I prefer, I mean, I
Yeah,
love Christmas Eve, I do, but I prefer to get them home on Christmas Day and then they're home with us and we've got all of Christmas Day, and that's my favorite. But so I have them Christmas Eve, they go off mid-morning, so then it's just me and Paul, and we've been invited to my mum's, we've been invited to his mum's, his sisters, we are not short of invitations to go places, and we're like, you know what? No. I just want to, if I haven't got my kids, I just want to snuggle up with Paul on the sofa and we'll watch Christmas movies. We'll probably won't even cook a Christmas dinner. We didn't last time. We just end up with loads of Christmas, like a Christmas living room picnic, as I call it. And we just watch
nice.
movies and we like fester on the sofa, probably drinking copious amounts of Bucks Fizz or whatever we decide to move on to, and just literally melt into a very crumb-filled sofa that's all cheese pinwheels and
But it's
sausage rolls.
perfect for you
But
two,
that's
and
what we want to do.
it sounds delightful.
But how many people getting invitations off other people would be like, oh, we really should go and see such and such and
Mm,
should go and see such and such. And I get it if people are on their own. I would never want anyone to be on their own at Christmas ever. But and I guess we're quite lucky that our parents all have, no one's on their own, if you know what I
mm,
mean. And I do get that because I think, say, for example, if my mum was on her own, I wouldn't want to just, no, I'm having Christmas my way. I want to fester on
yeah.
myself. You can just be all by yourself. Sorry. That I get that. Sometimes there is a level of doing things, even if it's not necessarily your number one choice. But what I guess I'm saying is that in that situation, it would be again choosing. Well, actually, it would be my choice then to spend
Mm,
Christmas with that person who was on their own rather than just choosing not to. And even if it wasn't my first choice, it still would be my
mm.
choice because I don't want to be the person who leaves the other person on their own. Does that make sense?
That reminds me of so the year that one of so yeah, before my ex and I finally broke up, finally, we had a sort of mini breakup. And that New Year's Eve, I was invited to various places. And I said to everybody, I'm really sorry. I just don't want to go. I said, I want
Yeah.
to sit on my own on New Year's Eve. I want to know I can survive a New Year's Eve on my own. And everybody was trying to rally around me and was being so kind and so loving. But I knew I had to do it for me. And some people would go, but why would you want to sit on your own and be miserable when you could be with people? At that point, that's what I wanted and needed to
Yeah.
do. It
Yeah.
was a survival thing that I knew I could do it.
Hmm.
And you know what? I was fine. I drank Prosecco in my bed. I fell asleep before midnight and I had a lovely evening. Everything was fine. I woke up the next day and I went, ah, I did it.
You did
I've never
it.
since spent the new year on my own, and I hope not to again. But at that point, that's what I needed. And I
Yeah.
was able to be honest enough with myself and with the people I love that were being so kind and so thoughtful just to say that is what I need.
Yeah.
And it's that thing of being, because I could easily have taken up all the
Yeah.
offers and gone and plodded along and put on a smile, but that wasn't how I was feeling. I wanted to
Mm.
sit and have a bit of a cry, drink my Prosecco, watch some NAF TV. That's what I needed and wanted to do. And then that
Yeah.
was the release I kind of needed. I know it sounds weird, but
No.
that's what I had to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely, absolutely get that. I think, as we get older, in some ways it becomes a little bit easier to live more authentically and do, live our lives for us. But it's all that, and we do have responsibilities and burdens. And like I can say, I'm not, encouraging anyone just to quit their job and fuck off to the Highlands in a gypsy caravan, but abandon their, all their responsibilities. But it's about making that choice, isn't it? Making that choice to, and I suppose in some ways, it comes down to putting feeling good first, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Put
Yeah.
feeling good first. And there's a lovely saying, and I can't remember whose quote it is, but every day may not be a good day, but there is good in every day.
Yeah,
And
that's
I like
lovely.
I like that, and I like looking at that kind of, and because if I hear people go, oh, it's a rubbish day, I'll say, no, come on, find a good thing, one good thing. One good, and even if it's, well, I'm alive. There you go. You found a good thing. And did you have hot water in your shower this morning? Well, yes, I did. And is that a good thing? Well, yes, I suppose so. And did you eat today? Yes. Okay, there's another good thing. Right, we're on a roll.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Gratitude rampage. And before you know it, you're off. Um, but it's not always easy, but it does, I guess, coming full circle to what we started off with. It's about making the choice. And sometimes that choice is you're at the stage where, no, I'm going to choose happy. And sometimes if you can't choose happy, you choose a new direction. And if you can't choose a new direction, it's about choosing a compromise. And if you're not ready to choose a compromise, it's about making the choice to see the possibility that change could happen one day, that you're perhaps worthy of a change, to actually choose to accept the fact you deserve to feel happy. You might not be ready to make those changes today or next week, but if you can stop and go, you know what, this isn't making me happy, and actually I deserve to be happy. I am worthy of happiness. Okay, that in itself will shift your vibration like about 10 notches up the ladder of vibration.
Absolutely.
Just being able
Absolutely.
to make that decision. But no matter where you are in the decision making process, it's about stepping onto that ladder, isn't it? Rather than sitting in the unhappiness, in the sense of stuckness, in the lack of fulfillment, going, oh, well, this is rubbish. Oh, life's rubbish. Everything's rubbish. And I'm going to say this because the chances he's listening is just very, very slim to none. My ex, I mean, he would say, he's said that to me. We've been broken up now like 9 years, no, 10, coming up 10 years. And he 9 years. We've been broken up 9, well, however long. And he has said to me, in various different arguments over the last however many years, he has said to us, oh, my life's shit, my life's shit. And he's trying to blame me for it. And, but he's one of these people who just can't, no, one of these people who just won't take responsibility. And I've said to him so many times, I bought him a copy of The Secret for Christmas one year, but probably hit the bin. I've said to him, just well, do something about it. If your life's
Yeah.
miserable, make a change. Well, I can't. There's something. Surely there's something you can do to make yourself happy. Okay, you
Absolutely.
might not be able to change jobs today. You might not feel ready to change relationships today or move house today or anything else. But there is something you can do. And whether it's just 15 minutes, whether it's a bigger thing, whatever, there's something you can do. But if you're choosing not to make your own sense of well-being and happiness and peace a priority, no bugger else can do it for you. But again, there's a lot of people who, I guess, they make somebody else's actions, somebody else responsible for their happiness. It's like, well,
Yeah.
you're doing this, it's making me sad. Well, you go and do something for you that makes me happy. If we relied on every bugger else to make us happy, that's what causes arguments, because you become dependent on people to actually provide your happiness, and that's not fair. And relationships don't work that way at all. It's it becomes a point of resentment. But and I suppose goes round and round in circles. It comes back to that worthiness. It comes down to that idea that I'm good enough to make myself happy. I don't need Paul to make me happy. My God, he does every single day, unless he's been a dick. But we'll leave those.
Paul, you're not being a dick. You're fine. He's a good egg. Paul's a good egg.
He is. He's pretty damn perfect, but he has his moments, as we all have our moments. I'm pretty certain there's things you can say like that about me. But he the happiness he brings into my life has to be the icing on my already existing cake. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if he suddenly didn't exist anymore, and that makes me sad to think that, but say something awful happened, or we split up, or whatever, blah blah blah, I need to know I'd still be okay. I need to know that I could still find happiness in my life. And yeah, I'd have all the sadness and everything to get over, but I need to know that I am still me. I am still a person. And sharing my life with him, well, that ices my cake and puts sprinkles on my cake and chocolate curls and flakes and lovely sparklers and decorations galore. But I need to know my cake's okay without the icing too. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
And I never want to lose the icing, because the icing is like really the best bit of the cake.
It is the best bit. Yeah. 100%.
But you know what? If you just had icing and no cake, it would look pretty shit too. So you need that basis. You need to know that you can provide everything you need for yourself in terms of happiness and fulfillment, and rather than relying on somebody else to come along and
but that can take time. And I think we need our listeners to realize that we're not saying this is an overnight thing. Like when I think about that previous relationship, the bad one, I was unhappy for a very long time, but would I acknowledge it, do anything about it? No, for whatever reasons. And then reason. And then eventually you get to a point where you do think, actually, I need to do something here. My happiness is important. And that's when the change can happen. But that takes time. And that's also okay. You know, we're not sitting here as preachers going, tomorrow morning, you're going to transform your life, because
I mean, unless you want to, that's fine.
Unless you want to. Happy days.
But I guess that's, you know, that's what I was saying before about there being a scale. Some people are ready to dive into that change tomorrow, but then on the opposite end of that scale, that's where you got to sit there, and that's the admitting and acknowledging part of it. And that is just as important as making the physical. In fact, that's more important, because the physical changes can't happen until you kind of come face to face with it and go, I need to admit I'm not happy here, or I need to admit a change needs to happen. And whether that's in a relationship or a job or a body or health or finances or, you know, whatever it is, looking at it, stopping and going, I'm not happy. That's the first step on the scale. And then as you move through all the other phases, eventually you'll get to, now it's time to do something about it. So
a little bit ago you said you had a funny story to tell us.
Oh, I did.
Or storyteller. So what was that before we finish?
So it's an Abraham Hicks story. You know, I go on and on about Abraham Hicks all the time. Well, can you remember lovely Claire with her Etsy shop that we talked about in chapter 2, episode 1? Yes. Well, I was scrolling through TikTok the other day, and Wild Color Creation, she's called, scrolling through TikTok and saw one of her videos. Now, she'd put a voiceover on the video, and it was a woman's voice, and she was talking very much about finding happiness and fulfillment, law of attraction-y stuff. And it was the Esther Hicks who channels Abraham Hicks. And I put a comment on her post going, Abraham Hicks, yeah, like this. And she wrote back and she went, oh my God, is that who that was? I've been hearing this for ages and I've never known who you're talking about when you're talking about Abraham Hicks. And I'm like, that's Abraham Hicks. So prime example of when the time is right for some magical force to find you, it does.
Yeah.
So, you know, Abraham's actually been calling her personally, and she didn't even know it. So I was just totally chuffed. I'm like, yay, go watch more of them. Yay. So
that's really good.
I was super happy. That's a good thing.
It's been really nice to chat about it in this podcast episode, actually. It's been I feel really nice and warm and fuzzy inside with all these things, and the fact we've talked about so much that I think will resonate with so many people. So I hope other people get as much out of it as I personally have.
I kind of feel like we could probably do like a double episode just on happiness and fulfillment and living authentically. I think there's so many different things to consider and think about when it comes to this sort of thing, because it is different for everyone and everyone is at different stages. But no matter what stage of the process of change you find yourself on, all of it takes courage, and it takes just as much courage to look yourself in the mirror and go, we got to make a change today or soon, or it needs to happen.
You said
just
that
actually do it,
because next week's episode is all about change.
Well, fancy that.
Had you forgotten that, or did that naturally just roll out your mouth?
I had completely forgotten that.
Oh, right, because I thought, I did wonder that, because you were just like talking so happily, and I thought, I think she's forgotten next week's episode. So there you go, the universe is speaking to you, a reminder. That is just a perfect ending.
So we will naturally just like roll onto next week's episode. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Lovely session. Thank you so much, Helen, for being my little podcast partner.
And can I give you a compliment? I know I'm the only one that can see you, but I've been looking at Shelley all through this podcast, and she's looking really beautiful today. She's got her eye makeup on, because like I say, quite a lot of the time Shelley and I have just got our hair stuck on our heads. I mean, honest to God, we look awful some days, but you are, I just want you to know, you're looking beautiful today. I'm loving your eye makeup. You've got gorgeous colour in your cheek. Your hair's looking all curly and lovely, so I just wanted you to know you look beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you. You know, I'm useless at taking compliments, so I've gone all shy now. Put my head
just bloody down. Take it, woman. Bloody take it.
Have a dose of my own medicine, she says.
Absolutely. I was when I was in Cardiff yesterday, I was walking along, and then there was this this delightful older lady on she got to be in her 80s on a mobility scooter. Oh my God, this woman was divine. She had a plum coloured gloves on, she had a hat to match, and I walked up next to her and I went, excuse me, and she looked a bit taken aback to start with. I said, can I just tell you, you look fantastic. I'm loving your hat. And she went, oh, she said, I never go out without it. And her little face lit up. And I reckon she loved that compliment. But honestly, she looked phenomenal. And I just had to tell her. And that, and then I said, well, have a lovely day. And off I walked. But she looked great. And I just wanted to tell her. So maybe there's something everybody could do. Maybe tomorrow, or when you listen to this, the day after listening to this, maybe set yourself a challenge of just giving somebody you don't know a compliment. See if you can do that, because it would make them feel really nice. And imagine how you'd feel if you got it.
Apart from anything, to be the receiver of a compliment from a stranger is nice, but to be the giver of a compliment always feels nice too. So it's a win-win for everyone, really, isn't it?
Win-win.
Oh, I'm going to do that. It's rare that you challenge me, so challenge accepted. Challenge accepted.
And I want you to tell us about it next time, what you did, who it was. Excellent. Oh, look, I'm so glad I've done it. I've made her do something. Woo, woo,
woo. You know what? I'll be somewhere with the kids, and there'll be the perfect opportunity to do it. And I'll do it, and both my kids will go, Mom, what are you talking?
So embarrassing.
What are you doing? Oh my God. Mom, why do you have to talk to everyone? I mean, you know what? Tabitha not so much, because she's a chatty little thing, but Tristan, it's like if I'm stood in a queue like somewhere, I will talk to the person in front of me, because I'm just like that. And then Tristan stood there rolling his eyes going, why have you got to talk to everybody? I'm like, oh, I'm just passing the time. Person is just
I'm like you. I chat to everybody and anybody.
Even if it's just like, oh, it's cold one today, or oh, it's busy here, or whatever.
Oh, I love it. Well, there you go. The challenge is set, so you must now do that. But as always, what a great episode. I've loved it. I've learned something again myself. I'm going to definitely be thinking about things. And to all our dear listeners, I always say it: like, rate, subscribe, comment, share, tell your friends. Any more people that want to email, write in?
Yes, we love it.
Yeah. So just thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And we will see you next time, and we will be talking about change. So what on earth sort of challenges that I will find for Helen now for next week?
God.
the gauntlet is down, or whatever you say. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think it'll roll nicely on from this episode. So I am super looking forward to that. But have a wonderful week, listeners, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Take care. Bye.